Hi, good morning. This is Deepak. I'm at the Chopra Center for Wellbeing in California, and we are having a wonderful course here. It's called Journey into Healing. It's a CMA accredited course for healthcare providers, also for physicians, and we are on day 3 of the course. So from here, I'm going to UCLA tomorrow, and actually, I shall be doing an event there as well, all-day event with Daniel Siegel and Menas Kafatos and many others on mind, body, brain health, and also the nature of reality. So we are, as usual, discussing topics here at this channel, discoveringyourcosmicself.com, based on questions generated from this book, You Are the Universe, Discovering Your Cosmic Self and Why It Matters, the book that I have co-written with Menas Kafatos. And so I want to thank you for your support of the book, and also for being participants in this forum here on discoveringyourcosmicself.com. So today's topic, which I am calling the building blocks of the universe as concepts, is prompted by a question from Daniel Griffiths. And he says, how is it possible for consciousness to expand and evolve if it is formless, dimensionless, timeless, and unchanging? How is it possible for consciousness to expand and evolve if it is formless, dimensionless, timeless, and unchanging? It appears the perceptual reality, the reality dream show, expands and evolves as the vessel of a species-specific human body-mind. Thank you. Love and appreciation, Daniel Griffiths. First of all, this is beautiful. The phrasing of Daniel Griffiths is beautiful. So let's go into his question in a little detail. I'll take it very slowly and stepwise. Consciousness itself, and I use the word synonymously with awareness, is obviously formless, dimensionless, timeless, and unchanging. You would agree with that, I think, because if consciousness had a form, we would be able to see it. We can't. If consciousness had a dimension, we would be able to experience it. We can't. If consciousness or awareness was in time, then there would be periods where there is no awareness. But we know that awareness is always present in every experience, and awareness is also present in the absence of that experience. As a new experience comes, then there is the same awareness. So awareness is present whether there's experience or not. Awareness is present in sleep, awareness is present in dream state, although the experiences are different. Okay, the experiences are different because experiences are states of awareness. So awareness by itself is timeless and unchanging. Only it modifies itself into different experiences, and those modifications appear to be in time. But the notion of time is very tricky. You know, the difference between past, present, and future as experience is less than a few nanoseconds. In fact, it is not measurable. So actually all experience is happening in the presence of now, and now is not a moment in time. Now is the presence in which time is an experience, a construct. So we can say for sure that consciousness is formless, dimensionless, timeless, unchanging. So how does it convert itself into form, dimensionality, and time-bound experience? How does it do that? I would say that it doesn't. That what happens is dimensionality is a trick. Dimensionality, time, all these are tricks. So awareness, all it does is it interacts with itself, and then it experiences itself both as mind, which we call thoughts and feelings, and then it experiences itself as modifications of awareness, which we call sound, which we call hardness, softness, shape, color, form, taste, smell. And then when we think about those experiences as humans, and because we have symbolic representation of experiences, then we give constructs to that experience. So if I asked you, what is this? You would probably say it's a wallet. But that's a concept, right? Because the experience is just a brown shape, a color, and a form, visually speaking. Otherwise, it's also the feeling of a certain texture. Could be a smell, could be a taste, could be a sound. So all experiences of that nature, and then of course we conceptualize those experiences as humans, and we say, this is a wallet, this is a book, etc. This is Deepak. Okay, but what we call a physical reality is actually a construct in human consciousness of very fundamental raw experiences. You know, if a dog who's not yet programmed as a pet, or a squirrel or another animal experienced this, it would just smell, it would try to figure out if it's possible to eat it, it might play with it, etc. But the concept of wallet would not be there. So you realize by giving names to forms, and all forms are phenomena, all forms are fluctuations of awareness as phenomena, sensations, images, feelings, thoughts, sense experiences. By giving names to these forms, which are phenomena which are arising and subsiding, we create constructs. And this is true of everything. It's true of what we call our body. Okay? Your body is just a human construct. In the deeper reality, there is no such thing as a body, because the body itself is an intermittent stream of fluctuations of awareness within awareness, and then the knowing of that experiences, and of that experience, the labeling of it, the description of it, and suddenly you say, I have a body. But there's no such thing as a fixed body, because the body itself is the arising and subsiding of experience, very fundamental experience, which is modulations of awareness within awareness. This is true of everything that we call reality. So, you know, a while ago I tweeted that the universe is experience in consciousness, made out of consciousness, and known in consciousness. Actually, the sequence I tweeted out was the universe is an experience in consciousness, it occurs in consciousness, is known in consciousness, is made out of consciousness. And my friend Professor Brian Cox from England tweeted back, he said, you got 2 out of 3 right. It's occurs in consciousness, the experience. It's known in consciousness, but the universe is not made out of consciousness. It's made out of gluons and quarks and W and Z bosons and dark matter and on and on. So the response to that, of course, is gluons and quarks and W and Z bosons and Higgs bosons and dark matter. These are concepts. These are concepts around experience. And experience has two forms. It's perceptual experience, and then it's what we call cognitive experience, the experience of thought, interpretation of that experience. And then, as a result of that, there's imagination, etc., etc. So once we realize that, then we can say the universe that we experience is a human universe in a species of consciousness called Homo sapiens, and it is a construct in that consciousness, the consciousness of human beings. And that's true of everything that you can name or describe: a rainforest, a tree, a body, a mind, a galaxy, atoms, quarks, etc. In the deeper reality, there's no such thing as matter. In fact, nobody has ever shown the existence of a thing called matter. Matter is not a thing, it's an activity, and it's an activity that is experienced as hardness, softness, texture, form, etc. Now, when we go to the building blocks of matter, as in science, and somebody actually suggested I read this book, Quantum Mechanics, the Theoretical Minimum, What You Need to Know to Start Doing Physics. It's a tough book because Leonard Susskind, who recently described gravity waves, he's from Stanford, and he is basically, a very well-known scientist. He's probably going to get the Nobel Prize for describing gravity waves. Very early on in the book, he says, quantum mechanics deals with the behavior of objects so small that we humans are ill-equipped to visualize them at all. Quantum mechanics deals with the behavior of all objects so small that we humans are ill-equipped to visualize them at all. Individual atoms are near the upper end of this scale in terms of size. Okay, electrons are frequently used as objects of study. And then he says in italics, our sensory organs are simply not built to perceive the motion of an electron. The best we can do is to try to understand electrons and their motion as mathematical abstractions. So what is mathematics? Mathematics is a mode of knowing and experience in consciousness, in human consciousness. No other animal thinks in terms of mathematics. So this mathematical abstraction that we call a subatomic particle or an electron then builds up to atoms, and then atoms are the same entities but close to the limits of our perception, and then basically we then give names to every single experience and reconstruct a human universe. The universe is your creation and my creation, and it's also an agreement on the terms of those concepts. And it's a very convenient agreement because, as human species, we are able to create technology, we are able to write books, we are able to create artifacts like wallet, and we, after a while, forget that all of this is our creation, and that even the body is our creation. You're not the body, you're the awareness in which the body is an intermittent experience. You're not the mind, you're the awareness in which the mind is an intermittent experience. And of course, you're not the universe. The universe is also an intermittent experience in you. Galaxies, stars, etc. Of course, the objection of this is, we are still able to create a space capsule. We're able to send moon to. We are able to send men to the moon. We are able to send a rover to Mars. So who's the we that does it? Well, the we that does it is consciousness. The body that goes to the moon is a symbolic representation of that consciousness. The space capsule is a symbolic representation of the space capsule. And so is the moon, so is Mercury, and so is Mars, and so are all the galaxies, symbolic representations of awareness in human awareness. Other species don't have any ideas about space capsules or Mars or other galaxies, etc., etc. These are human constructs. You are the creator of the universe. Curving back within myself, I create again and again. Prakratim swam bashtbhai vishrajami puna puna. Curving back within myself, I create again and again. I create mind, I create body, and I create the universe. I am, and the rest follows. Okay? In I am, once you start attaching labels and constructs and names and forms and phenomena which are self-interactions of I am, and we all agree to our constructs, and we create the universe. So what does this do to the most important activity, most important system of thought in our times, which is science? Remember, science is a system of thought which does nothing at all to even explore the ontology of existence. It's not part of science. Science assumes a physicalist ontology, creates technologies, and goes on with it. Does science therefore give access to the truth? No, science gives access to symbolic representations of truth. And it's a useful thing because as a result of this science, we have created the human universe, and we are enjoying the fruits of that. But because we do not ask ourselves, what is fundamental truth? What is the awareness in which those constructs arise? What is the awareness in which those concepts arise? Then science does not give us access to truth. Okay? Science does not give us access to truth because science then just becomes a wonderful way to organize and manipulate experience in this cosmic virtual reality arcade. The universe is a cosmic virtual reality playground, and evolution is its game. And we are at the top of that stream of evolution as a human species on planet Earth. So then what should we do with this understanding? How does this understanding help us? And the understanding helps us because if we knew that modes of perception are many, modes of experience are many, but reality is one, and that we are that one reality as beings, as awareness, then our science would have what we call values. Our science would be value-based. Our science would say, how can we create a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier, and happier world? Our science would be holistic. Our science would bring healing to us. Okay, so What I'm saying is not totally, of course, new. It's part of the wisdom traditions of the East. It's part of the perennial philosophies. Even Plato spoke about that, etc. Marcy Gannon says, what about dolphins? How can we know we're at the top of the stream of evolution? Say, dolphins is a name we give to a particular human experience. Dolphins and all the taxonomy we have for animals, these are our creations. Do dolphins exist independently of our creation? Yes, but not as dolphins, as a mode of knowing and experience, as a mode of expression for knowing and experience, and the internal world of that species is unknown to us. Maybe there's another analogy I can use that comes from my friend Don Hoffman, who's a cognitive scientist at the University of California. So he says that, all of us, in the physical representation of us, is like the icons on a computer desktop. And the desktop itself, the format is space-time and causality. And the icons are the symbolic representations of a deeper reality. So if I want to experience the world of Amazon, I press the icon and there it is. I want to experience Deepak's Facebook page, I press the icon and there it is. So the icon itself is this body-mind, okay? And this Dr. Hoffman calls the interface model, interface theory of perception. And what he says is that by pressing the icon, and the icons even interacting with each other, there's the perceptual experience of the universe, but of course the icon is not the truth. The truth is the consciousness, which the icon is representing as a mode of experience. The action in a computer is in the belly of the computer, and so the action of the universe is in the cosmic field of consciousness that then creates species-specific experiences of space-time and causality. Space-time is not fundamental reality. Matter is not fundamental reality. Nor is mind, by the way. Mind is also a deeper, more subtler experience. So you can say thoughts don't weigh anything. Somebody might ask you, what does a thought weigh in units of mass and energy? Right? It doesn't. And yet without thoughts, we wouldn't be able to communicate with each other. So what are thoughts? What is imagination? What is mathematics? These are symbolic representations of modes of knowing, modes of experience, self-interactions of consciousness. And of course then that creates this amazing playground of innumerable knowers, innumerable modes of knowing, innumerable objects known, all within the self. Why is this important? And the only reason it's important is not being bamboozled by appearances. We do not worry about the fact that appearances are constantly changing. There is no experience that lasts even more than a nanosecond. So I go back to my favorite quote from Wittgenstein, who says, "A life is a dream. We are asleep, but once in a while we wake up enough to know that we are dreaming." So who's the we that is dreaming? The we is the awareness that is dreaming the whole universe as an experience. And the dream includes the body and the mind as well, because body, mind and universe are a unified activity. The eyes are icons for seeing. The sensory apparatus are also icons, symbolic representations for hearing and tasting and smelling and touching and then interpreting that, and then here we are, a human universe. This helps us a lot because by knowing fundamental reality, you do not identify with experience. You can engage in experience, but you can also let it go because you have to let it go. It arises and subsides. You get rid of cravings and addictions because addictions come from the false understanding that there is something to crave and be addicted to. You get rid of your fear of impermanence, and you finally conquer the fear of death because death happens to experiences which are time-bound, including the body, which is a time-bound experience, but not to you, who is the awareness that is constantly recycling itself as experience, as form and phenomena. So that's so easy, I think, to understand. Dimensionality is an illusion. Time is an illusion. Space-time are illusions. But convincing illusions and enjoyable illusions, as long as you understand that you are the awareness projecting that. So I go back to some very, very fundamental advice from wisdom traditions. Know in every moment that your body, mind, and universe is a projection of your conditioned self. Number one principle. Number two principle, know in every moment that the universe is egoless, and so don't attach yourself to an ego identity. Number three, know in every moment that the real you was never born. The real you was never born, and therefore is not subject to death. And know in every moment that only the formless is real. That which has form or appears as phenomenon is a transitory on-off phenomenon in your own being. That's it. And this is also the experience of love. Love not as a mere sentiment, but the ultimate truth at the heart of creation. Linda asks, is evolution an illusion? Evolution is, I would say, evolution is a human construct to experience, to explain the emergence of species, which are human constructs. Thank you. All the best.